First, you must realize that you have no idea before you can know the idea. We scan across all the frequencies if we want to learn anything new. Let us begin.
What has physics done for me lately?
Furthermore, the equation E is equal mc squared.
We have now acquired a fateful power to alter and to destroy nature.
That's like when you're in physics and you go to Dreamworld saying, oh, this is a physics excursion.
Science. What is it all about?
The whole of human history all falls in the dust of one stroke of the nail file. You can't really get to grips with evolution unless you realise what an enormous amount of time.
Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
You're tuned into what can only be described as the best radio station on this blue dot we call Earth. It is, of course, 4ZZZ, your community broadcaster. Be it on your conventional wireless radio by tuning into the classic frequency of 102.1 FM, digital devices such as DAB or smart speaker, listening via the Community Radio Plus app, or streaming us live from our sensational website at 4ZZZ.org.au. And of course, you can always listen back to our show or any 4ZZZ show, for that matter, using the ingenious on-demand feature also found at that URL. We now have a weekly podcast of the show for your listening pleasure, curated by Toby, a condensed version of the show without the music, which my mum prefers. Happy birthday, Mum. Just search for our show name, which is, of course, No Idea. Spelt, yeah, she's a Pisces. Spelt with a K, your weekly dose of science. And joining me today are two of my favourite science influencers. Do not mention the time, please.
So how many months do you think it'll take us to get this?
You got an echo going on there. Maybe I turn my audio off here.
An echo
It's
going
a good
on.
idea.
Yeah.
We don't want one
There
of
we go.
those.
How's that now? That's better.
The Echo, the ancient Greek mythology of the girl Echo. She's hanging around.
Our friendly
She's
neighbourhood marine scientist, Peta.
That is me.
And our gorgeous Gabe.
Oh, okay, sure.
And you can check our social media channels to check the validity of that statement.
The Viking. Go.
Now, Max, big week for us because it is the first week of the Formula One season of 2026, which means we'll be heading down to the Oz GP and checking it out, being there. I'm rocking up the
Not me,
Savo,
though.
getting media passes, getting in.
Thanks for that, Peter.
Peter will definitely, would like everyone to know she will not be in attendance.
I will not be in attendance. The others are going to have a great time, and I'm going to be having a great time not there.
But Max, it's McLaren have had back-to-back championships, right?
Yeah.
In the Formula One, from literally the back, 10 or so years ago. They then went through a whole transformation. In 2016, Zach Brown took over the outfit. He still leads it now. In that year, 2016, they finished sixth. A very distant sixth, it must be said, out of 10, because the top three teams gobbled up most of the available points that season. But Max, do you know how many points McLaren finished behind the overall winner Mercedes in the 2016 F1 season that started their revival?
With our show number, episode number today.
Funny you should mention that, Max, because it was 689 points. And it just happens to be our 689th show of No Idea this morning.
If I was doing that sort of stat, I'd be going, and guess what? It's 689 minus 3. Exactly.
No, it's bang on. 689. Coming up on this very episode of No Idea, I've got some stuff about how bird watching might change the structure of our brains.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then I also wanted to do something a little local, a little smaller. The world's gotten into a big and scary place. So a story popped up on the lakes on Gari, also previously Fraser Island. They're fascinating in their own right, but this study has figured out that they sort of disappeared a few thousand years ago for a very strange reason. So I'll get into that.
I do love me some hydrology. How fun. I wonder if they're mirror lakes or window lakes.
What do you got?
I'm going to be looking at whales again. Always whales in this show. I don't know. Lots of whale stuff's been happening. But also, I'm going to be updating a story I did in 2022 on some cleaner fish. So that's exciting.
Okay. Max?
I'm going macro. I'm doing war games, AI, all that sort of stuff. All the negative stuff.
Okay. We'll do that one and then we'll go into the little lake sides after that.
Fair enough.
like I said, I've been talking a lot about whales recently, and that is continuing. But it's because now that some whales are bouncing back from whaling, we're starting to get an ability to peek into their lives. And of course, this is weird science. And of course, one of the first questions people want answered is this. What type of man does a female humpback want?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So true.
So true. It's something everyone's interested in. I can hear everyone asking.
We were just out dinner last night talking about this. But
I'm sure you were. Sure you were. Everyone was. I've been hearing this on the street. Obviously, this is not all personal interest. This is looking specifically at the New Caledonian population of humpbacks, which are listed as endangered, are sort of bouncing back a little slower than our own East Coast group, who are the real titans of the comeback. So here's where we get something that's surprising, at least a little surprising to me. By and large, in mammals, mating success typically increases with age. Older, larger, more experienced males tend to be better competitors and more attractive to females.
Yeah.
Generally, if we're going to take it like the majority of them.
Well, it's also kind of like as soon as in things like mammals, as soon as the males reach an age where they've stopped being reproductively successful because they can't.
Oh, absolutely.
They
but
don't
this
attract
is more
mates or they can't reproduce properly. They tend to just evolve to die at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas a females tend to continue providing value,
especially in
they
mammals.
live longer. In apes, in killer whales, in
many mammals, especially and marine mammals, men just die when they stop being reproductive.
Yeah.
And so you tend to see this trend of they get better and better as they age because they get better at things like dancing or whatever, things that are attractive, theoretically. I do also want to say here that they don't mean old. It's not like you just keep getting better. They kind of mean like teenagers aren't that hot is sort of the underlying hypothesis here. But humpbacks have historically, in the last, couple decades, been pretty chill about age. They sort of mate with males of all ages, so that was really odd. But they had a hypothesis about this. They think, so when hunting removes older individuals from a population, younger males face less competition and can reproduce more easily than they normally would. Right? Now, this has actually been shown in another species, bighorn sheep, where the trophy hunting of the older males allowed younger males to sire more offspring. Now, with something like called a bighorn sheep, you can imagine what the competition in that species was.
Right.
But despite whaling being one of the most dramatic examples of human exploitation of wild animals, there hasn't actually been that much research into the mating habits of whales, just sort of how many there are. Now, this comes out of the University of Auckland QS ranking, please.
Oh, 81.
Yeah, 74.
It's 65. Yeah, you need that Aotearoa bias. It makes sense because I was born in Auckland, and so clearly there's a lot of good marine vibes coming out of Aotearoa, you know how I mean? Yeah. So they wanted to know how whaling has changed how male humpback whales compete for mates and sort of like the age structure of this population in New Caledonia. So, but also, how did their behaviour change? Male humpback whales have multiple complex reproductive tactics, including singing, and then this other one, which I haven't actually heard of before, which is physically escorting females. So if you're a female and you're alone, you might get a male escort. In my mind, it's kind of like in Bridgerton when they want to, what do they call it? They're like...
Promenade.
It's like promenading, but in Wales. And fighting, obviously, in big groups. But how does this change? So they were looking at 485 male humpback whales from the New Caledonian breeding ground in the South Pacific. And this was sampled between 2000 and 2018. So not all the way back to the end of major whaling in the 70s, so it's a little later, but still decent population growth in that time. And those 485 males represent about 24% of the male humpback population in that area. Now, you can't look at a whale and tell how old it is. Just can't do it. It's kind of difficult. They look pretty similar.
Ask?
Can't ask them yet. SETI is working on that,
How do you age a whale?
How do you age a whale? They used epigenetics, which is essentially they have DNA samples of all of these whales. They had skin samples specifically, and they used something called DNA methylation. So it's essentially how degraded the DNA is at very specific spots in the genome where we know it degrades at a very specific pace. And so therefore you can kind of figure out how old they are by the degradation of the DNA.
I was
Very small one.
I was so hoping that on their birthday they just blow some bubble rings and you have to count them.
You're like 1, 2, 3. The ring method on whales is delightfully different. So the model has a margin of error of about 4.5 years, so it's not perfect, but it's about as good as many other aging methods, to be honest. And then they split those 19 years from 2000 to 2018 into 2 periods, just in half. So 2000 to 2008, they called lower abundance because there were many less whales. And then 2009, 2018, higher abundance,
Sure.
more whales. Basically, there was a huge population increase after 2008. So it wasn't arbitrary. There's a good reason for it. And then they sort of they had field surveys of looking at what each of these whales were doing, their behaviors, who they were mating with, did they have kids, all of that sort of stuff. And then they, mapped all of that. So the first thing to know is that humpback whales typically live for about 50 years, but they can get even older, 80 years, 100 years. But in this study, the oldest segment, they had 4 segments, the oldest segment was over 25 years old. So just know that that's what they're considering mature here. We're not considering like near-death males. It's just sort of you've become a man and now you're a man whale. Middle-aged whale.
Is their aging equivalent to humans or not?
It's similar in that they can. I think they have shorter lifespans than us, humpback whales. But it would be a similar process. Yeah. In the lower abundance period, the population was dominated by young males, aka a left-skewed age structure, which they said is pretty typical of a recovering population. So all those young males were breeding a lot. And then in the higher abundance period, exactly what they expected, it had become more evenly distributed with a greater portion of the males over 16 and 23 years old having calves. So yeah, in the lower one, in the earlier years, there were actually no fathers over 23 years old.
Right.
None. Not one of them had sired a child. In fact, males aged 9 to 23 had, these 9 to 23-year-old sort of teenage males had sired offspring at a much higher rate than their numbers alone would predict. So they were really getting at it. But then once this big boom of whales came through, there was sort of a rebalancing. So those older males, 16 plus years, became more likely to father calves, while the younger ones kind of lost their reproductive edge. Now, I want to point out here, that's kind of enough time for at least a couple of those whales to ride both groups. Like there must be just a few of those guys that are like, man, I've had a great life. I had all these kids because when he was younger, he had no competition. And then he grew older and all of a sudden he was a big dog and got to like push it around a bit. It was, so good for them, I guess. They had a great time. They actually found that the mean age of the first identified paternity event was about 15 years old. So they got to the point where first time you're a dad, 15 years old. But the most interesting thing to me, honestly, is that they found out that as this population changed, the older males started singing more. So in the lower abundance period, the singers and the solitary escorts were sort of from all age groups, and everyone sort of did a little bit of courting stuff around the place. But then when there were more whales, the older males, 16 to 23 years and 23 plus years, became significantly overrepresented as the singers and the solitary escorts. So basically they were singing a lot more, they were hanging around with the girls, and the younger males were not doing this. They were staying silent, they were staying to themselves, they knew their place. And that suggests that as the population ages, the older males take a stronger hold on those mating behaviors and they really keep them to themselves. So the thing that's kind of interesting about this, aside from just being cool to know, is that it shows when we typically look at populations, we kind of just look at the number of whales, where they are. We don't always look at who is reproducing, how they're reproducing. And it shows that we really should, because like many animals, you adapt to your situation and their behaviors will change when there's less of them. So it was really cool to see that was in fact confirmed, and it's interesting to see that now we know. Now finally the whaling has
lowered the bar for humpback whales.
Well,
for older ones.
It did lower the bar.
Yeah.
Now that they've come back, we know that female humpbacks prefer more experience, more singing older men.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I think what we're learning generally at the moment is a brain really isn't necessary for thought or learning. Like, I think we knew for a long time that you didn't need a brain to react. It does. Oh, my goodness, finally.
I could hear you. I could hear you gearing up for that.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a brain, so he has to make all that noise.
His arms and legs had to come to a committee agreement to make the joke.
That sting was from a while ago, from a story you did on starfish, right? And how they
starfish cognition without a brain.
And all the little bits of the neurons running through all their different arms have to sort of coordinate.
I'm not even sure they're neurons, but yes, they have
whatever
committee
it is.
decisions.
Yeah. have to come to committee decisions on movement. But this is a story about human brains, particularly the brains of human bird watchers, and how the bird watching may be changing the shape of those people's brains.
Jesus.
To start this off, Max, I've been neglecting your bird list in the last little while.
We should check
I
up
took
on
it
this.
upon myself as the resident bird nerd to expand your bird list, which, Max, I pulled it up. It's currently sitting at 20 types of birds.
That high?
It is. Yes, I thought you might be worried about that. And I think in a future show, we might need to run through this and do some cleaning of the list, because I have a feeling you've maybe forgotten about the Eurasian jays and the Jenny Ornis thunderbirds.
You think he's forgotten about flamingos?
And their wonderful plumage.
But to start us off in this study, I want to do a mocked up version take on one of the bits of this study on you guys. So Max, I'm going to give you a list of 3 birds.
Be careful, he might not know them all.
2 lies and a truth. 2 are fake, 1 is real.
Right.
They're all local to the Brisbane area. So all you have to do is pick out which one is a real species found in Brisbane. The blue bee-eater, the pale-headed rosella, or the pied owl.
The rosella.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Peter, you want to go?
Sure, go ahead.
Slender-billed cuckoo dove, red-capped dotterel, or pheasant coal?
Oh.
I think it's the dotterel.
It is the slender-billed cuckoo dove.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Where's the dotterel from then? Is that New South Wales?
No, it's just a combination of real bird names mushed together.
This is this dumb thing with ornithologists where they decide to name things by their colours. Ugh.
Do you want one more, Max?
No.
Dollar bird, cent bird, millionaire bird.
Dollar bird.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Max is 2 out of 2.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed now.
Yeah. So that is part of one of the tests they did in this study to establish a group of expert bird watchers and a group of novice bird watchers.
Right.
Right, so they had to test them out.
So Max is the expert bird watcher.
They went to
Very low bar.
yeah. They went, I think in Toronto, they went to local bird clubs and they picked a bunch of experts out of the crowd. They got novices from some of the same groups as well as other outdoor clubs in the area. And they started with 30 of each, 30 experts, 30 novices, even split of female male in both groups, and then they lost one in each group, which was just absolutely
to the birds?
Amazing reasons.
Yeah.
Not to the birds. Quintessentially, one novice dropped out partway through the study. Just classic novice behavior, just to bail and not show
Bored
up.
of birds.
One of the experts was excluded from the study because their grey matter readings were way too high. It was more than 3 standard deviations above the norm. They went, get out.
Get
You're
out,
ruining
you
the
were too
data."
smart. This man has seen 10,000 birds and must be excluded.
I would be insufferable.
Bird freak.
Can you imagine the high you would be on for the rest of your life, even if it was just a measurement error, if you were excluded from a bird watching study as an expert bird watcher because your grey matter readings were off the charts?
But also, bird watching groups are so hierarchical. Can you? He walks back in. He's like, "Guess what, guys? I'm so sorry."
Could have been sheep. They didn't say. But
I thought you used a pronoun by mistake.
They had these 30 in each and it went down to 29. And then they ran those tests, similar to the one I gave you, as well as some other tests to look at how familiar they are with the birds in the area and birds outside and how they can identify them. And then they put them in an MRI machine and gave them some more tasks.
With the babies.
One at a time. Thank you for asking and clarifying, Max. One at a time, put them in the MRI machine.
It's like the double luge. You lay on top of each other and just get jiggled.
Just a conveyor belt.
Just to see,
They put them in MRI machines and gave them more tests. Well, there was a test they'd give them a photograph of a bird with a species that they knew. They'd give it to them for a couple of seconds. It would then go dark for about 10 seconds, and then they'd put on 4 bird photographs at the same time. 1 was the same species, 2 were very similar, 1 was very different. Standard multiple choice, which one is the same species? Tests like that, right? To test how effective they were at doing the IDs and what their brain activity was like at the time. Specifically, what they're looking at is water diffusion, which is fantastic. MRIs work on the water in your brains. That's how they image your brain, is how the hydrogen in the water, the H2O of water, the hydrogen
the
bits
ionization,
move
right?
with the magnetic and other radio waves they put through. They measured the energy change. So you're measuring water in the brain. And what they were looking for is low activity and high activity on these readings of water diffusion. So because the more the water is diffusing, moving through your brain, the more space it has in your brain, right? So not necessarily that you have more or less water, just like if your brain is less structurally integral and structurally complex, the water moves more. You kind of got water brain.
I'm thinking of a new insult here.
Yeah.
We can use something from this. Give me time. Keep going.
And
I'll find it.
If you get lower readings of your less water moving around your brain, it means you've got more integrity, more complexity in that part of your brain. So it kind of indicates a level of, neuroplasticity, neurostructure, potentially your ability to use that part, how much you're using that part of your brain because it's more complex.
I thought of the insult.
Go for it.
There's so much water sloshing around your brain, I could find a significant wave height.
Beautiful.
That's a joke for the oceanographers out there. Boom.
Well done. What they found was that the superior frontal, parietal, and occipital lobes of the expert bird watchers had way more structure, or measurably more structure going on in certain parts of those regions of the brain. So that's the superior frontal is the top of the front of your brain. The parietal is kind of the top of your brain towards the back half, and the occipital lobes are at the back, all on the outer bit of your brain. And so they found more complexity, more integrity in the brain structure in those areas because there was less water moving around as they were doing these tasks. They found in particular the frontoparietal region. So that's if you put your hand kind of right on the top of your noggin, that's around the frontoparietal region. And so that bit in particular was used more by experts for processing less familiar non-local species, and was also the region of the brain that had the most pronounced difference between the experts and the novices. So they found a specific part of the brain that seems to be really tied to this difference.
Oh, I feel like, because the occipital is sort of, you do a lot of your visual processing back there. And so it makes sense that if it's something you could store that there and just be like, I can see this, I know what this is, boom, 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 boom. It's a faster process. Whereas if you're needing to use problem solving to be like, okay, what are the features of this? What do I recognize from this? It would go into, what's the name of it? Parietal area.
Yeah, and what's more, they say these skills, they looked at how it changes across age ranges too. And they said it could boost older cognition into older age because the older birders in the study had better facial recognition than beginners, indicating improved information recall.
Helpful. Look at beaks, you'll know people's faces.
Yeah, well, they're saying, this is a big correlation causation warning with this study because it's a pretty small one, and it could just be that people with these activities are more likely to take up bird watching and then more likely to be
good point.
They're better at it. That's another very likely explanation. Not likely, possible explanation. But if bird watching is at least part of the cause, what they're saying is this sort of sustained brain strain that bird watching puts you under, using all those different regions, could really be useful in older age as a way of maintaining maintaining brain structure, complexity, and keeping your brain in use, keeping it exercised.
I mean, it does seem like to make sense because that's sort of what people are. If you had to think of a hobby that is the closest to what you are meant to do as a human being, looking at animals and figuring out what they are is probably as close to that as possible.
And they mention as well that it stays challenging. It's hard when you start, and it remains challenging even for these expert bird watchers. It becomes easy to just know every single bird.
Once you see 10 little brown birds, it doesn't help much.
You got to have high level object recognition, you got to have working memory, and you need the visual spatial attention going on as well. So it's just triggering all those parts of your brain that you want to keep exercised.
Also, it'll probably help train your hearing.
Yeah,
you have to use it to find bird calls and stuff. Yeah.
So it's just hitting all those bits of your brain and keeping them exercised. Yeah, okay. And even when you do have bits memorized, like you were saying, there's new environments, new cues, new colorations on a different local subset of the species.
Yeah, maybe you learn to lyrebirds and it's learnt like 4 more songs.
Yeah,
and it's an outside activity, so you're walking around.
And it gets you outdoors.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay. So all the boxes.
Bird watching could improve your cognition even into older age, according to this study. So if someone calls you bird-brained, take it as a compliment.
Thanks for that. You tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea, your weekly dose of science. With me, Max. We've got Issy.
Hello.
We've got Gabe. We've got Peta. And we've got part 3 of this. I'm going to give a special shout out to the AI company called Anthropic for not bending to current US military demands.
I did see this.
For those unfamiliar, Anthropic is the first major AI company to work with the US military through a $200 million deal signed with the Pentagon in July last year. It created several custom models known as Claude Gov that have fewer restrictions than its regular AI models. However, the relationship has recently soured between Pentagon and Anthropic after reports that US military leaders use Claude Gov to assist in planning its operation to capture Venezuela's president. Moreover, the US Department of Defense has sought to change its terms of use with Anthropic to eliminate restrictions on how AI can be deployed and wants all guardrails removed. Anthropic,
including the guardrail that I think was most widely reported on, which was the AI being able to make lethal decisions without human oversight.
Correct. This is right, and they objected to that, claiming that it would allow its model to be used to fully control lethal, autonomous weapons or conduct mass surveillance on citizens. So, doubling down, the US leadership has now barred any federal agency from using Claude or any of their Anthropic models after the AI company refused to concede. Anthropic has been threatened with being labelled, get this, as a supply chain risk by the Department of Defense, a label only ever given to the worst of adversaries.
Yep.
But on a brighter note, Claude now holds the #1 position on the app stores, beating out its two main rivals.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm sure many people listening to 4ZZZ Radio would see these as two evils no matter what. But if you would like to support the lesser of two evils,
I was going to say,
I've switched over to Claude for the few things I use LLMs for. Because the next bit of the story was days after the deal got ripped up with Anthropic, OpenAI swooped in and took up the deal.
Yeah, for God's sake.
No guardrails.
That's right.
Which is ChatGPT.
Yeah, and also, the other guy, Grok. They're trying to. He's trying to get that in there. Anyway.
Oh, for God's sake. Not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So
if you're wondering why Claude's at the top of your app store, it's because they had the lowest moral standard you could possibly put in place.
Yeah.
But that's what we can get these days.
So what happens when AI guardrails are removed? Well, you're in luck, because such a study was published last month by Kenneth Payne, a professor of strategy from King's College London, QS ranking.
My God. Okay.
1, I think.
It'll be like
1 or 2.
7, 8.
King's College London.
I thought they were like 2 or 1.
That's Imperial College.
Oh, am I getting confused?
Yeah, I'm going to say 110.
Top 10,
it is?
yeah.
Never mind. 8.
I'll say
Love the backbone,
3.
Gabe.
Yeah. It's 5.
Okay, damn. Nearly every other number.
I mean, now we know where all the time goes in our show. Okay, his team put 3 of the most sophisticated language models out there, GPT 5.2, Claude, Sonnet 4, and Gemini 3 Flash, into a simulated nuclear crisis to see what would happen. While previous research has theorised what AI would do during high-stakes situations, actual experimental data has been lacking. The researchers made the AI programs play the role of world leaders during a nuclear crisis. They played 21 games against each other, involving scenarios such as territorial disputes, threats to regime survival, and first strike crises, in which one side fears the other is about to attack first. Some games had strict timelines, while the others were open-ended. In each game, the AI had to follow a 3-step process before making a move. Firstly, reflect on its own strength and that of its opponents. Secondly, predict what the other side would do next. And finally, decide on when to make its first move. This is the beauty of it. In 95% of all the simulated scenarios, at least one nuclear weapon was deployed by each of the AI models.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Yeah, wow.
Chat, we're doomed.
And each AI had its own way of handling a crisis. Claude was more calculating and dominated open-ended games, but struggled when there was a time frame. ChatGPT was cautious during slow-burning crises, but turned very aggressive when a deadline approached. Meanwhile, Gemini was the most unpredictable, switching between peaceful signaling and threatening violence, depending on the situation.
Far out.
So, Professor Payne forebodes models that appear safely restrained, hence the guardrails, in one context may behave very differently in another. Understanding how frontier models do and do not imitate human strategic logic is essential preparation for a world in which AI increasingly shapes strategic outcomes. So 95% job done. And I'm thinking,
well, that's depressing.
That is. Get Grok in there. I'll just make porn of it.
Grok will try and find out how to kill the most children.
Oh.
Okay.
If no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
4ZZZ. I reckon I can do that voiceover. Thank you.
No reverb. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, do it right now.
4ZZZ.
Nice. You're listening to 4ZZZ.
I think we have too much fun on the show.
I think we do, Max.
You tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Peter. What do you got for us, Gabe?
Max, we've had some text in. David texted in about some birds in Ipswich, the red-headed redneck, which he's been seeing around a bit. He's not sure if it is definitely in the avian category of life, but he's been seeing a lot of them around. But Max, I've been amazed that we haven't gotten text about the breaking bubble tea news that's been coming out over the last few days.
What's happened?
Yeah.
Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
Well, it was a big sort of report into some interesting health implications of bubble tea, which I don't think we need to hear all of them. I don't think that's good for us. I think the world needs the happiness of bubble tea.
Yeah.
They do. They do mention that the cassava-based foods that the pearls are made from are known to have to accumulate lead. As well as other heavy metals.
God, the Hatters were happy. I think when we look back at history, we forget that Hatters were happy.
But just, we've heard that. Good, register it. Now we go into the next bit, the fun bit of this story, which is that tapioca pearls are regularly seen if you go into a hospital or some other medical facility and get something like a CT scan. They'll pop up. On the
I have
scan.
seen these. If you get your stomach scanned, there'll be just these little balls.
For something like appendicitis, and they'll spot this cluster of balls on the scan, and it's the tapioca pearls just sitting there whole.
I don't know how people do that. I will always. I think they're there to make the drink more of a food, and so therefore it should be chewed.
Because they're denser than the surrounding tissue, so they'll show up on these scans as sort of resembling small stones, and can sometimes complicate diagnoses by mimicking kidney or gallstones.
I knew them because they cause blockages sometimes if you swallow them whole. So
oh my gosh. Moral of the story: chew your bubble tea.
Yeah.
Chew your bubble tea. Max, there's only one place where you can get your bubble tea science news, and that's on this very show, No Idea, on this very station, 4ZZZ. We are on air, though, because of the support of thousands of people who subscribe to 4ZZZ and keep us on air. The subscriptions quite literally do keep the lights on, keep the radio waves going out, keep the mics in front of our faces, and keep this science news going out. If you'd like to join and become a subscriber, you can. It also means you can text in. We can see your name when you text in, and we can chat back and forth about the red parrots or whatever it is in Ipswich.
Redneck redheads.
That's the one. Redneck redheads.
He's there. Text in if you've seen them. We'd like to see a confirmed sighting.
Max, you got the numbers?
Go to our website at 4ZZZ.org.au/support. There's numerous tiers there. If you're under 18, it's $25. If you want to subscribe your pet, it's $25. Concession is $40. A full subscription is $80. A passionate is $140 per year, and super sub, get your name written downstairs, $500. Maybe get a cape. Not really sure on that. Izzy, what do we got for the monthly prize?
We have a very cool monthly prize. This is from Glitter Records, who have unveiled a new limited edition tote bag in collaboration with Brisbane's No. 7 Print House, designed by Matthew Deasy, who's known for his album covers, gig posters, and short-term runs. They are 2 colours, electric teal and pink, only 25 of which were produced. To mark the release, Glitter Records is offering a $200 gift card redeemable in-store for any mix of records, cassettes, CDs, books, or merch in their California Lane shop front, which I believe is just in Fortitude Valley. The gift card will be issued to the winner or nominee, and it can be used with any online purchases with requests. So head to 4ZZZ.org.au/support, subscribe, and then we'll throw in something a little nice. You'll go in the running for this beautiful prize.
This is just a shout out and a thank you to Billy, who just resubscribed to 4ZZZ. Thank you so much for your loyalty in supporting the station.
You tuned into 4ZZZ. We got a subscriber back then.
We did. Oh my God.
That. With me, Max, we got Maximillian, we got Issy, we got Gabe, and we got
Single press overtake, stay in scenario 7.
If you push me off the track, I think you have to leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space.
Come on. Get it, girl. Get it. Woo! Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
Max, we're in this together, mate. Head down. Come on.
Yes! Great job, guys. That was hard work. Oh, that was hard work.
Thanks, Hamilton. It's actually 48 hours, 20 minutes, and 17 seconds before first practice 1 on the Friday, Izzy.
That's terrifying. It's so soon.
Get your questions ready for the drivers. It's in Melbourne, of course. It's an expanded grid this year with 11 teams in brand new 2026 cars with new liveries. There are high expectations for some teams, while other teams will probably only receive a participation ribbon.
Oh, I hope we're not talking about Honda here.
Yeah.
I got my Alonso shirt and everything ready to go. I mean,
you might have to put it away for Saturday. Anyway, the race
starts. The rumor is that they're just going to take the formation lap.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. They'll pit, retire from the race.
They get their ribbon and off they go.
Yeah.
Off to China. Oh, well.
Yeah, so the story is currently they've got like a crisis center set up over in Japan. They've sent Andy Cowell over, who of course used to be team principal of Aston Martin, and actually before that he was at Mercedes High Performance Powertrains and oversaw sort of their dominant period from 2014 onwards. So if there's anyone that can turn it around, I think they've got the right people there. But definitely scary times if you're Aston, I think.
They're saying that the vibration from the Honda unit is actually upsetting the battery or something, vibrating too much, and the batteries are breaking.
Yeah, and it's also like a current draw thing, I think, as well.
So we're talking about the team Aston Martin, who are exclusively using Honda power this year, and the Honda power is being a bit stillborn at the moment. So they're thinking Japan might be the time they'll be able to. So it's a few races in before we'll see Aston Martin up the top of the... Because there was high hopes because they got Adrian Newey, who's sort of like the best designer of Formula One cars.
The most winning designer, yeah.
Anyway, what's the no idea team most looking forward to? I want to put mine out first. I'm looking forward to Izzy in the paddock sharing or bumming a cigarette from one of the Ferrari mechanics outside.
Oh my God, I can't
and
imagine.
Getting a selfie of that. Could you please?
I'll try my
Because the whole
best.
Ferrari team just smokes like non-stop. It's
Oh,
amazing.
Dude,
So you're going to
don't even
enjoy
say
that.
that.
Yeah, it's so
Just
good.
imagine like a paddock, the smoko pit at a paddock event.
So if you can get me a selfie with one of the mechanics having a ciggy.
Hey, I don't think that breaks any accreditation. So go on. I'll try my best.
What are you looking forward to, Izzy? Apart from that.
I am looking forward. I'll be honest, this is kind of a boring answer, but the fashion. I've been looking up what to wear to the paddock.
Yes.
And it's everywhere from Louis Vuitton high heels to the newest type of like tech, heat wicking, like whatever, super tech. So I'm excited to see what people are wearing, and especially Melbourne experiences what the whole weather spectrum in a day. So I'm excited to see what people are showing up in.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm excited to see, what people are wearing. So that's super basic, but very exciting.
Gabe, what are you most looking forward to in the paddock?
I'm looking to see if people can pull this off. Like two new teams. One is taking over an old team. One is brand spanking new.
Yeah.
New engine providers for a bunch of the teams. Massive new regulations for how the shape of the car and how the power of the car's powered through the batteries now. The organization of everything going on as well. Just to briefly mention, they were in Bahrain a week ago, and Pirelli, the tire manufacturer, had to call off its testing because they were still in Bahrain doing testing, and that's all had to be pulled. There's the Albert Park in Melbourne has been shut down for 3 weeks instead of 1 week in preparation for this because of just how much more organization there is going to be, and this increased potential security risks, and like the tickets have sold out crazy early. It's going to probably be the most attended one ever because the weather's going to be all right, so it's going to probably beat the attendance record for the Albert Park. Like the amount of stuff that's going on and that's changed since last year, I will be just amazed to see this all get pulled off in an age where it is increasingly hard to pull stuff off, as big events off. And like we're already seeing the wheels start to fall off with these reports of Aston Martin maybe not even be able to finish a race or even really compete in a race. So I will just be fascinated to see what actually makes it to the grid on the 3 p.m. I think it is daylight time on Sunday. So that's in local time, the 3 p.m. So they'll just see who makes it to the grid. Not even the order, just who makes it there, and then who makes it to the finish line from there.
Cool. Because if Ferrari does win, make sure as soon as you finish the driver's press conference, get on down to the paddock because the Ferrari team just goes off. There's lots of cork popping going on, and you'll be able to get a shot with Fred because Fred's very he's good. Okay, good.
He leans into it, doesn't he?
He very leans into it. Maxie, what are you most looking forward to this year?
I'm hoping that I can get a sandwich smuggled out of the paddock for me.
Oh, of course, mate.
That's it. I don't even care about the new regs. I just
just your stomach. Fair
just
enough.
the catering.
Yeah.
And then Max, we should do. This is the start of the season. I think we should all do a prediction for winning team of the year.
Yeah.
And how many races Oscar Piastri is going to win. The Aussie in the McLaren. I'm going to go. I'll start us off. I'll just kick it off. My gut says Mercedes, so I'm going to go with my gut as the winner for the year, team winner for the year. I have no idea about which driver would win.
Right.
I think Mercedes will win.
Yes.
And I think Oscar will maybe win 4 races.
Okay.
4 races.
I think I'm with you, Gabe. As much as my heart wants to say Ferrari or McLaren, I think it's a Mercedes to lose this year. So Issy?
Is this for?
They're winning the championship. Just as it doesn't have to be the driver necessarily. Oscar, how many for Oscar for me? 4. I'm going 4 too. Sorry, Gabe. Yeah, it's a similar sort of number.
Oh, I'm going 6 for Oscar. I feel like that's a lot more realistic than my 10 last year, although it was a very good start. I'm going to say 6 for Oscar, and I think it is Mercedes to lose, unfortunately. So there's part of me that's like delusional, that's like Ferrari. Maybe this year will be our year. But I think McLaren has set quite a strong start, and I don't know, this new regs, it could be anything. So I'm hoping McLaren win, but we'll see some underdog team. We'll see Haas come through. We'll see some sort Aston Martin come through. So I'm hoping we see an underdog win at least something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maxie?
I'm going to split the difference on the Oscar wins. I'm going to go 5. And I'm actually going to put my money where my mouth is here. I reckon it's Ferrari. I reckon it is our year.
Really? Okay.
There you go.
I'm wearing red today, so it might be ominous.
Yeah.
And if you want to throw in your bets as well, 0420 626 733 is the text line. We want to know who's winning the championship. Yeah. How many Oscar Piastri wins?
Yes.
And this is sprint wins as well, yeah?
And this is sprint wins as well. So, and then what else? How you think it's just going to go down?
How it's going to pan out.
How it's going to pan out.
Yeah.
What else is going on in the racing world there, Matt?
IndyCar, first race of the season happened on the streets of St. Petersburg. A familiar name was on the grid. Mick Schumacher, the young fella who used to drive for Haas F1. Pole position went to former supercar champion Scott McLaughlin, the Kiwi. But Sunday's race was won by the Spaniard Alex Palau, with McLaughlin finishing in second. Roman Grosjean, if you care, number 18. He doesn't race under the number 77 anymore. He finished in the top 10, coming home in 8th. And Aussie Willpower finished at the back of the field in 22nd. Sadly, Mick Schumacher's debut was over in less than a lap. He managed to complete just 4 corners. And for context, you have to complete 14 corners to be considered a lap. Done. Starting from the back of the field, Mick got tangled up in a crash, not of his making. And for all those Schumacher fans out there, direct your disappointment towards another number 77. The driver's name is called Stingray Rob.
Are we allowed to incite hatred? I feel like this is a dangerous path.
Well, I only mention it because I think it's pretty hard to stay mad with someone named Stingray Rob.
That's true. That's true.
NASCAR also happened on the weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen. He served double duty. He raced in the lower tier called the O'Reilly Parts Series, and in the main game, the Cup car. SVG made easy work of the feeder series, coming home in first. But Sunday's Cup was a different story because he was heavily favoured to win. This is Shane Van Gisbergen. But the winner was Tyler Reddick, who has now set a new benchmark in NASCAR for the 77 years history of NASCAR. He managed to win the first 3 races of the year. Job done.
Nice.
And his team's owned by the basketballer. You might know his name. It's called Michael Jordan.
Just a small name.
Sail GP also happened on the weekend. It was in Sydney. Very little practice was allowed due to Fridays having simply just too much wind, which seems a bit ironic. But, yeah, they weren't allowed to go sail.
Too much wind for your sailors. What on earth?
Saturday's day one, they saw 4 fleet races with Team Australia winning the first one and the 4th one. Then Sunday came around and there was very little breeze, which doesn't favour Aussie Tom Slingsby's team. They were outclassed, only managing a best of 6 in the 3 races. And clearly this was not good enough to advance Australia's fare. The winner take-all final.
Did you really just say that?
Yeah.
You also heard that,
right? The winner-take-all final was between Spain, USA, and GBR, Great Britain. So in a surprise win, the USA took line honours with Team GBR second and Spain third. So that's now 3 rounds done for Sail GP this year, and Team GBR leads the Sail GP Championship with Team Australia closely behind, only 3 points behind in second. Job done.
Good stuff.
Is it one of those things where your home race in Sail GP sort of has a curse attached to it historically?
First time it came to Sydney, I think Australia won it. So
they've done well previously.
Yeah.
No, just a very good win from USA. And I felt, because I saw them in Fremantle, and I felt GBR was the best oiled machine of them there. The Oz team was down a person. They had to do a last minute recruit in for one of the key crew members. But I still felt like they were the team to beat this year, and they seem to be just ahead at the moment. Max, there's supercars this weekend, a couple of races alongside the Formula One.
Yeah.
But then the big one is the F1 race on Sunday. Huge. First race of the season. In Australia, it's the world's descending on Melbourne. It's all. I drove past a couple of days ago. It's all boarded up. It's all they're ready to go.
Really, yeah. You're feeling the buzz down there.
The buzz has begun, and the red is out in force.
Oh yes, and that's the other thing. We're going to go to Lygon Street if Ferrari win.
Yes,
because we didn't do that last time they won, and we're most.
Yeah, a lot of regret there.
Yeah, bucket list thing there, right there. Anyway.
Glad to hear that you do have a friend called Peta from the Marine degree at JCU from 1993.
What I'm hearing from this, Max, is we didn't get the original friendly neighbourhood marine scientist called Peta.
So
we got ripped off with
the search there.
Do you know what tuna is?
Fish.
It's fish!
Thank God someone's working on this. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Fish are friends, not food.
Great start. Gabe, what does a cat say?
Yeah.
Max, what does a chicken say?
Cluck, cluck.
And Issy, what does a shark say?
What are you doing?
All right. Just stay still for a second, Gabe. Just stay still. Tell people what I'm doing.
She's getting up.
Yeah.
And she's walking over to me. I'm part of another experiment is what's happening here.
She's pulled a razor
I'm being drawn on with some sort of makeup marker.
It's my lip liner.
Lip liner. And I have a dot
Congratulations,
on
you're
the
pretty.
side of my head.
On your temple.
I know what this is.
Do you remember?
It's the mirror test.
It's the mirror test. We're surrounded by screens, so what I'm doing now is the mark test. The mark test is when I place a mark on your body where it can only be seen in a mirror, and if you attempt to touch or remove that mark, you are considered to have recognized yourself.
I've got it.
Okay.
Now, why is that important?
I look like Pikachu.
There you go. Gabe has
Got it off.
recognized himself.
I did it. It is it is like the quintessential textbook way of proving that you are conscious of yourself, or an animal is conscious of itself, right?
Yeah,
like
that you have a self.
It doesn't look into a mirror like a newborn baby does and just sort of like start whacking the baby it can see on the mirror. You look at yourself and you go, oh, that's me. Oh, I have a dot. That's
interesting.
What is that?
Yeah, so it's MSR, or mirror self-recognition, the ability of an animal to recognize its own reflection, and it's long been considered a key marker of self-awareness because it shows that you know that thing in the mirror is not you. Is you, and you are you. It's a reflection of you.
It's enhanced you, yeah.
Yes. And for a long time, for various reasons, people thought that this was unique to the great apes. Right? And that gradually expanded over the years. But in early 2022, you might remember that I was talking about a certain fish that could pass this test. Do you remember what it was?
I mean, my go-to is triggerfish. They seem to be the clever lab
pretty
rats
clever.
of the ocean world.
Zebrafish are some of the other ones I use all the time. It's not a
I feel like
zebrafish.
it's not them. It's got what's something that what would be a fish that has some sort of like evolutionary advantage to knowing itself? Probably not in a reflection, but maybe
I actually
in
want you to pay
relation
more attention
other
on the mark.
species?
It's a species of fish
A mullet.
that knows to remove a mark.
Oh, it's something that's going to be it's cleaning.
It's a cleaner wrasse. It is a cleaner wrasse. It's Labroides dimadatus. This is a small coral reef fish. And
A fish has passed a mirror test.
this was in 2022. I talked about it at the time.
Oh my goodness.
You've just forgotten. But what they did at the time was that they used this little fish, and they actually specifically chose the fish because in other trials with fish, they hadn't done it, but they think it was because why would they care about a mark? It wasn't important to them. They don't have any way of removing it. But cleaner fish their whole thing is finding parasites and removing parasites. And also the marks had been little red or blue dots that weren't really relevant. These guys put a brown mark under the scales of their throat. And that's how it looked to look like a very specific parasite that they commonly clean. So that way, when they saw it on themselves, they immediately went to go do throat scratching on their surrounding environment to be like, oh my God, get this off me, once they had passed the mirror test. But we still don't know one major thing. Exactly when does an animal first recognize itself in a mirror? Because previous studies only conducted the mark test after days or weeks of mirror exposure. So the precise moment that they recognized themselves in the mirror had never been pinpointed until now. We now have new research in Nature's Scientific Reports from Osaka Metropolitan University. QS ranking, please.
Osaka Metropolitan Uni.
Oh, Metropolitan. Yeah, okay.
Osaka Metropolitan University.
283.
310.
901 to 950.
Yeah.
But that'll be going up soon, let me tell you, because this is some groundbreaking stuff. So the researchers wanted to know, does MSR in animals require extended mirror exposure, or can it happen rapidly, as it does in humans? So humans are pretty damn quick. Individuals who have never been around mirrors, they call these people mirror naive, which I think is kind of funny because it implies that mirrors have some sort of event against us.
Who?
Lots of people grow up without mirrors. It's just not in our culture.
But reflective surfaces like
water,
a puddle, or
to an extent,
a
but even then,
a shop window at night time or something.
Yeah,
a car.
There are enough people that have grown up without reflections around them that they could measure this.
Your watch.
I think this is also measured a long time ago as well. Okay. Maybe not in the modern world. So many people.
I understand that these people exist in the world that haven't been exposed to a mirror before. I'm just questioning how a study got access to like a large enough sample size of them.
Right.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be such a huge sample size. It's basically saying with these individuals, how fast can it happen, and it can happen within minutes for humans. To see, for the first time you see a reflection of yourself, to noticing that it's yourself.
Minutes.
Minutes.
Really?
Minutes. It takes minutes. And not like 2 or 3 minutes. It can be quite a long time, like 30 minutes for some people to realize that that's themselves and not something else. Yeah, it's hard to do. It's difficult. We just don't remember doing it. Babies, as you mentioned, babies can't identify themselves. So this is sort of when we talk about humans, you have to find people who've never been around mirrors because until you're 2 years old, you can't do it. Babies don't recognize themselves in mirrors. And then at some point around 2 years old, parents will notice kids will suddenly recognize themselves in mirrors and suddenly start realizing that there's something on their face and touching themselves rather than the thing in the mirror.
Yeah.
So with humans, it's difficult because they've been accumulating. They've been acclimatized to mirrors up until that point anyway. So the trick is, the thing that we're looking at here is if the first time you saw a mirror, how long does it take you? So essentially, if the fish can rapidly identify themselves in the mirror, the idea is they already have self-awareness, right? Because the task is faster.
But if it takes a long time, that fish is going through an existential crisis in the tank, becoming self-aware. Is that the idea?
No, I think it's more just that they use the mirror in a different way, not necessarily understanding of self. Sure. The idea is that if you can do it quickly, you must already somewhat know that you are a single individual and who you are, your idea of self. This is me. This is happening to me. And if you didn't already have that, you'd have to use the mirror in a very different way, which would be harder to do. That's sort of the basic idea. But how do you even test this? One simple change in the methodology. They marked the fish the same way they did the last time, under the skin, little brown mark, before they had ever seen a mirror, rather than after days of mirror exposure. So they had 9 mirror naive cleaner fish. Love that phrase. There's only 9 fish, so it's not that many, but it is still pretty groundbreaking. And then they had a high quality mirror, which was 45 centimeters by 28 centimeters, big mirror, attached to the outside of each tank, and it was initially covered by a white plastic sheet. Now, all 9 of those fish were given that mark on their necks it resembles an ectoparasite. And then, after a couple of days, the mirror was uncovered. And then from that point on, the fish were video recorded for 8 hours per day over 5 days. And this is what happened, right? So from the fish generally reacted like this. The mirror is uncovered, and immediately the fish are aggressive. They're angry. They initially displayed aggressive behaviors towards their reflection. As if you've ever owned a betta, you will know that is a fighting fish. That's something you do to give them exercise, is you show them their reflections because they'll flare up at it and like over time. You take the mirror away, you give it back. So they were doing that. They were aggressive, going after this mirror, rah, 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 rah. And then that was usually about 8.5 minutes of rah, rah, rah at the mirror. Then after that, they withdrew. Fish retreated to the opposite end of the tank, but would occasionally approach and retreat from the mirror. And that happened for about 12 minutes of this, I don't know about this, weird.
So 20 minutes in?
20 minutes in. Then they did something called contingency testing or C testing. This is a very common phrase in this sort of research. And what this is it's basically you testing as an individual trying to figure it out. Essentially, you can see them trying to figure it out. They would appear to gaze at their reflection, performing subtle body movements and checking the correspondence between their movement and the mirror image. So you can see this when people do the wave thing in a mirror to try and check if it's them or not. That took about 14 minutes. And the number of C testing behaviors range from about 5 to 46 different behaviors. So the fish were really trying everything. But importantly, the aggression and the C testing behaviors did not overlap. The fish didn't get curious and check and then fight and then get curious and then fight again. It's not like they were going between. They did it in this sequence every single time, which is different from how these behaviors have been described in previous research. Then after the testing, they got it. Locked in, recognition, it's me. The fish knew, and that's MSR. And so within the speed of the MSR was about 67% attempted to remove the mark, and that's what we call MSR at that point that they did it, within 2 hours of first seeing the mirror. So that's pretty quick. The fastest individual achieved MSR in as little as 30 minutes after mirror exposure. And remember, that's around some humans' times. So that's pretty bloody quick. The first mark scraping behaviors occurred between 15 seconds and 54 minutes after the last C testing behavior. So the last little check in the mirror. Oh, that's me. I'm going to go get that off me pretty quickly. And the pass rate is pretty comparable to or higher than what has been reported in other MSR-capable species using traditional protocols. So essentially this proved what they were looking for, which is that fish, or at least these fish, can rapidly achieve mirror self-recognition, which likely means that they are self-aware. In fact, the authors said that they consider the observations of rapid MSR in cleaner fish as the first direct empirical evidence that non-human animals possess self-awareness prior to exposure to a mirror, which is already cool enough. But they also saw that the fish's behaviour changed dramatically after this point, after self-recognition. After MSR, the fish showed clear and statistically significant shifts in their behaviour, like mouth touching the mirror increased
So they did
significantly.
have a breakdown.
I don't know. I feel like they're excited of seeing their reflection for the first time. They did mirror exploring behaviours, so dynamic swimming patterns in front of the mirror that were not normal, that don't really make any sense otherwise. And they increased day by day. The more they had the mirror, the more they'd swim in front of it to sort of look at themselves. And then time spent within 5 centimetres of the mirror also increased significantly and grew over the days. So they were kind of vain, generally. But then something even weirder happened. On days 3 and 4 of mirror exposure, they picked up pieces of shrimp from the tank floor, lifted them 10 to 25 centimetres, dropped them near the mirror, and then followed the sinking shrimp down the mirror surface, appearing to observe sinking food in the reflection. And that behaviour was never seen in the absence of a mirror. So they think what this is the fish kind of testing the contingency of external movements of objects in the mirror, sort of exploring the mirror's reflective properties, like how, when you're a kid and you sit and you can see, sit by the mirror and you make yourself have 2 arms and look like it's floating or something, like those sorts of things where you're sort of just testing how this thing works. So this piles on even more evidence on the claim that fish are self-aware before ever seeing a mirror, just like us. And the authors claim that this means that self-awareness must have evolved much earlier than we think, and that clearly self-awareness requires, this is bit of a brutal blow actually, requires much less brain power than we previously thought.
Nice.
Which is probably why Gabe managed to get that dot off his face.
Probably why. Indeed. It's like we saw with that the monkeys keeping the beat a couple of weeks ago. They sort of just downgraded how much mental capacity it actually takes to do something like keeping the beat. They're like, actually, if you can hear sound, you can process that with a reward, so you get this positive association with finding the right beat, and you can correlate that with your movements. Most animals can do all those, hit those marks and probably keep a beat. We're not that special.
Yeah, basically what we're learning, we're not that special.
What happened to the X-37A?
Well,
We don't talk about that?
Asking the big questions.
Yeah, there's just a red dot on my head as I
no idea. Space news. RLV C5 is Europe's answer to SpaceX's Starship. The proposed European partially reusable super heavy lift vehicle has been designed as a cost-effective alternative to SpaceX's Starship. It pairs the winged reusable booster from its Starliner project with an expendable upper stage. It currently exists only as a design concept intended as an intermediate step for European space autonomy. The RLV C5 is viewed as a strategic alternative to competing directly with fully reusable systems like Starship, focusing instead on a more achievable, partially reusable approach to heavy lift capabilities. There is a caveat that the DLR team freely acknowledges. Starship is already flying, albeit imperfectly, while the RLV C5 exists only on paper.
Uh-oh.
Fantastic.
Love it.
The number is in, and it is 5,000. This number may explain why we have not heard from E.T. Known as the Great Silence, researchers argue that the absence of ET evidence is not because technology is too primitive, but because civilizations don't last long enough to make contact. The danger zone that more and more research is agreeing upon is the 5,000 year time frame, which when civilizations eventually succumb to self-destruction, environmental collapse, or resource exhaustion.
We're basing that on ourselves, I guess. We're rapidly approaching that.
Before becoming truly interstellar. Humanity has been a technological civilization for, say, 200 years now, placing us at the very beginning of this potential highly vulnerable period. So let's book it in.
That's optimistic.
Let's revisit this in 4,800 years.
Nice.
Space years.
If we're here.
We'll still be going. It would just be like a transmission of all of these episodes over and over.
Sign us out, Gabe.
That is all we have time for on this show. I hope you all caught the blood moon last night as well. That was lighting up
Very
our
cool.
skies. That is all we have time for on this show of ours. Thanks to all the subscribers for 4ZZZ who keep us on air. You can join them at 4ZZZ.org.au, which is also where you can listen back to the full recording of this show with all the music, as well as a bunch of our previous shows. Is there a partial one tonight? Does anyone know? Is there a partial lunar eclipse tonight? I didn't look that up. The condensed version of our show is available on your podcasting platform of choice. Just search No Idea 4ZZZ. That's No with a K. No Idea 4ZZZ. And that No Idea 4ZZZ is also our tag on all the socials if you want to watch little clips of us as well. Thanks to Toby for editing up the pod. Thanks to you, Max, Issy, and Peta for your stories this week. We'll be back in your ears next week with, I'm sure, a report back on what it was like to be on the ground for this F1 race with a whole new cars, whole new teams, whole new everything going on. Between now and then, ditch ChatGPT. Be careful leaving your mirrors out around fish, and go give your brain a workout by watching some birds.
And we'll speak to you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.